Hey guys, Femme Traveler 87 here. I hope that you guys are doing well. I had just seen the last two episodes of season 2 for Hazbin Hotel, and I was so over the moon. So excited. I wasn't at all disappointed. Vox really took center stage, and really, he's my absolute favorite villain ever. I mean, he's really complex. There's so many layers to him. There was so much to unpack throughout the entire season, and honestly, just seeing him on screen, it's what really got me so engaged, especially since I got to learn so much more about him through observation, and, well, it's just, I mean, chef's kiss, honestly, to the creator and everyone who was involved in the show. I mean, like, I was so impressed. But anyway, I'm making this video because I figured he really deserved his own analysis, I think, because I really want to dig deep, because there's so much that I really want to dive deep into, especially on a core level of who he is as an individual and what his personal struggles are, his mannerisms. So I figured, I pretty much would start back to where we see a bit of his past, where he started out as a weather guy. His name is Vincent Whitman, and, well, he practically killed the competition. Obviously, he was really hitting his prime in the 50s, and then until he met his tragic end, like literally a TV landed on his head, and thus he's become the TV overlord that we have come to know. And he's just a walking chaotic mess, and it's just he's just so much fun and a bit of an egomaniac, but why not? He's kind of charming, and it's really hard not to see that he's so good looking and, well, quite irresistible in my opinion, but I guess that's just me fangirling, but whatever. But in a way, I find him kind of relatable, because there has been a point in my life where I think I would say a lot of us maybe find him relatable to the extent where we've had a vulnerable moment in our lives where we've sought validation from the wrong person. And it correlates with him so well. Alastor's brutal rejection of Vox offering to partner up with him really paved the way for the TV Overlord to become the ruthless guy that he is, because he really took it to heart. And there was a time, especially in this moment, when they were talking and laughing and having a good time, Vox really opened himself. This was where he was the most vulnerable. That's what we got to see. And it makes me feel very sad for Vox in a way, because I feel like he genuinely cared for Alastor, and Alastor, I guess, took it in a way, well, I guess you really only want to be around me for my power, right? You don't really like me for any other reason, and maybe that's why Alastor really turned him down, but then again, they are both egomaniacs. And even if Alastor did accept Vox's offer, maybe Vox would have been a happier person, but I think that at some point they probably would have butted heads, and they probably still would have tried to kill each other over dominance of territories and whatnot. Now, Vox had a lot going for him, and really the whole smear campaign with Charlie in the hotel, that was his biggest success, and I really feel like he should have just stopped there. But the minute that he steps into the hotel, the very first thing that comes to mind is, where is Alastor? He knows that Alastor is at the hotel. It has become his hubris, his very purpose for existing, just to prove that he is better than Alastor. And Alastor pretty much acts like Charlie's guard dog, really, in a sense. Not that I ever saw him too much involved with the hotel, as he would often try to avoid confrontation. I think mostly with Vox, though, because those two really don't get along, which is pretty much obvious, and he really doesn't want anything to do with Vox. Now, as a side note, Alastor would kind of stand around and observe, oversee things, but he's someone who's very withdrawn, and not who I would call a social butterfly, unless in a way the conversation would benefit him. But if it all boils down to it, in my opinion, I really think that the real reason why Vox truly agreed to Charlie's invitation was because he just wanted to get close to Alastor. And I think the way to break down that wall was to target Charlie. And that's just my observation. It's not just solely my opinion or whatever. It's just something that I think that on the surface, it was just something that really had come to mind, I guess, as it's replayed in my brain so many times. That's just how I look at it. Vox is just so dependent on other people to help him. And he's so desperate for validation, and he just so easily takes the bait from Alastor, like I said before. And that's just really what led to his downfall. And it's just this one scene where Alastor confronts him on the street, where Vox is with the other two Vs. And literally, Alastor instigates a fight, and Vox, of course, can't help himself and just engages. And without hesitation, he just takes up Alastor's deal. Like, I'll be your prisoner just as long as you don't lay your hands on the princess. And the dude's like a giddy schoolgirl that was just asked to sing your prom. I mean, come on, dude. You're really that easy. I don't really feel sorry for you at this point. Alastor's response to Vox upon being captured is, I literally had just willingly given myself to you. You really didn't earn it at all. I just offered myself because apparently you're just that pathetic and pitiful that you didn't really have to try hard at all. Then, of course, you are surrounding yourself with aggressive people who don't really appreciate you, who step all over you like you're a doormat, who treat you as a beta, as a tool to use, because you have created a platform for them so that they can thrive with their businesses, because none of them would exist without you, and you're just as dependent of them as they are of you. And really, if one V was to leave the group, the other two can't sustain their businesses at all. They wouldn't survive without Vox. And listen, Velvet, she has the spunk and the confidence and the pretty face. She's the media influencer. She's got her own following and everything. And then there's Valentino, who really isn't the smartest guy, isn't the brightest bulb in the bunch. He has the charisma, but charisma can only get you so far. Vox is truly the whole brains of the operation. He is the one that gave Velvet and Valentino relevance, gave them purpose. It's because he is the one that built the foundation for them. They can't thrive without Vox. And so that's just the bottom line. It was all because of Alastor that led to this moment where Vox truly lost the battle. It wasn't really because, Charlie had proved that she was right. It was the fact that he had demolished half of the city with the ultimate superweapon, trying to kill Alastor, and thus risking everybody else's lives. Literally, his company motto was, trust us with your safety, trust us with your public image, but overall, your safety. He lost the public's trust and respect because he put their lives in danger. It really had nothing to do with the fact that Charlie had proven that redemption was possible, that Serpentius really got sent up to heaven because of his selfless sacrifice. It was because he had jeopardized the lives of millions of sinners. Even the two people who, of course, who by all means is no better than him, but were loyal. And even Valentino tried to be the voice of reason. Now, when Valentino is the voice of reason, man, you must have really screwed up bad. But also, I can just see, like, the tears streaming down Vox's face. Like, it really just hurt him having to do this, having to go this far. Because I guess, in a way, he felt, you really forced my hand in this. It didn't have to be this way. Perhaps if you just teamed up with me, if you had been a better friend, then maybe none of this would have happened. And he also said, look, I don't care what happens. Just as long as I wipe that smirk off of Alastor's face. Like, this is how far he was willing to go. Just because he just wanted to prove himself to the one person that he looked up to, that he believed had stabbed him in the back, had ripped his heart out. And this is how he truly lost the battle. Because his focus wasn't on the right thing. He wasn't really focused on the true purpose of the mission. He was so distracted with trying to compete with Alastor that he lost the big picture. He had a lot going for him. He smeared the hotel, and I can't emphasize that enough. That's where he succeeded the most, and that's really where he should have just left it alone, because he had a lot going for him. And he could have just salvaged the rest of his reputation by just walking away, but no, every chance he had to walk away, he just had to engage with Alastor. He just had to take the bait with Alastor. You could have walked away with your tail between your legs for being humiliated, but no, you just had to take it a step further with trying to display your dominance, making a bigger fool out of yourself in front of your two business partners, in front of everybody, and that's how you really failed. So what if Charlie proved that she was right? Even if the hotel did succeed at all, you and the other two would still have your empires. Maybe your guys' powers would slowly diminish over time, but you guys should be capable enough to know how to survive. I mean, you've done this for, 70 years, Vox? Have you learned nothing from what Alastor tried to teach you? I mean, for crying out loud. And you see what I mean, guys. But really, Vox is an infuriating character, and he's lovable at the same time, and it's really hard for me to really stay mad at him, because, there are a couple instances where, I really feel for him and everything. And with the whole thing with Angel, like, you really took out your rage on somebody who really didn't deserve it. I mean, you really should have gotten more mad at Val, really, because then, of course, as you all should know, and as well as I know, that, now Vox is really said to be the toxic one in their so-called relationship, but Val is really no better. Now, Vizzy-Pop has gone into a little bit of detail on Vox's fate, the idea that she has for him for Season 3, and all she basically said was that he's been humbled, and that he's going to have to deal with being not at the top of the food chain anymore. Now, whether that is a short or long-term effect for him, I don't really know. I can't say for sure. But there is a way for him to regenerate, get his body back, and he could probably regain the trust of his business partners. Now, I do know that Valentino did take over Vox's position, but I really don't think, I'm not confident at all that Valentino can really sustain Vox's business, because Vox Tech is really Vox's thing. He was the one running the show, so I'm not at all confident in Valentino's ability to do that. I mean, he just, just took over his seat. And I just don't see that going over well. So now, as far as being humbled goes with Vox, I can see it to the extent where he may try to make good with Valentino and Velvet, not so much with the hotel, seeing as that, again, he's an egomaniac. He's not really the apologetic type, and there's a lot of pride, and not to mention all the tension there is with Alastor. And after being humiliated, I don't really see him automatically going to the hotel, and the whole redemption thing that I'm sure that's been going around, because people have been speculating, theorizing, sharing their own opinion of what could happen with that. But redemption wise, I think that's a bit of a stretch with Vox. But as far as trying to be a better business partner to Valentino and Velvet and regain their trust and regain his spot that he had before. So really, the whole lesson is with Vox. The whole moral lesson is, if you dish it out to Charlie, you should at least be able to take it back, I think, right? I mean, you're the one who was baiting her and trying to break her down and everything, but right when it happens to you, that's when the realization hits that, now you know what it's like to be the one that is labeled. And I think that at some point he could go back on top, but it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be quite the journey for him. And again, I don't see him having some kind of redemption arc where, he's going to find a place in heaven. I think that is very unlikely. I can just see him just trying to make good with Valentino and Velvet, because they really need each other. And I'm sure that they just have Vox's head held hostage right now, because they're probably just trying to take precautions, considering what had just transpired, and they don't really trust him completely right now, and they're still pissed at him, which I can understand to a degree. Then, of course, they also were just trying to save their own asses, which is why they were helping with destroying the ultimate weapon and freeing Lucifer. So I'm not going to just say that they were doing it to be noble. They just were just trying to save their own asses. But yeah, my prediction with Vox for season 3, in the beginning of his journey, he's going to be struggling to get back on top. He's going to be facing various challenges. I'm sure the hotel is probably going to slam the door in his face if at some point he becomes desperate enough to want to seek refuge there or whatever. But I don't see Val and Velvet really kicking him out. I mean, they have his head held hostage. They're just keeping it as a precaution again, and they really cannot survive without him. And Valentino cannot sustain Vox Tech without Vox. I don't care that Valentino just decided to take up the position. He has the charisma, but he just doesn't have the brain power that Vox has. And I would have preferred if Velvet just took over the spot, but whatever. But really, this is just what my thoughts are. In regards to damage control, I think there is a way to reverse some of the effects, at least to the point where he destroyed half the city because of his vendetta against Alastor, maybe trying to wipe out pretty much the whole public's memory of the event, at least to that one part, I think. And it was an idea that's always surfaced around my brain now. It works really good, in my opinion. At least that's just how I feel about it personally, especially considering with the fan fiction I'm working on and with my own character that I ship with Vox. She's very innovative and stuff, and really, that's just the idea that I was rolling with, and really, I know that it won't happen in the show, and even if it doesn't happen in canon, it's just something I kind of wanted to just throw out there. And it's just really what I was thinking, and it's just my opinion, of course. So there you have it. In conclusion, I really hope the best for Vox, really, despite everything. Because I know that he's not just one-dimensional. So yeah, let's just root for baby Vox, because seeing that tear in his eye just kind of makes me a little sad for him, and I hope that he gets what he really needs, and what he really needs is a lot of therapy and a lot of time to self-reflect on his choices, and I think that's it. Might come out with a part 3 on another character. I'll probably do it on Valentino or Velvet or whatever, but probably Valentino, because that is just something I just kind of also want to throw out there. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please stay tuned for the next video. Bye bye.